participation processes, both outside and inside of Parliament.
You have citizens from time to time that will always be active, that will always be participating, that will always be following what is happening, that will always be raising issues, that will always be doing what we call constructive criticism when they feel they are being let down by members of Parliament, that will always be making sure that they are writing to Parliament, and if ever you have a member of Parliament that will be going on the air, you will have that high level of participation, raising questions, and if ever there's a WhatsApp that has been opened dealing with some issues, it will be flooded with some comments, questions, and the criticism sometimes. So in that way, you are convinced that the general population of the country, they are not left behind. They are active, they are participating, and they are assisting the process, and at the end of the day, you will always have an outcome that is enriched and that will always making them to celebrate.
Parliament isn't a remote body that is removed from society. On the contrary, it is a people's parliament, voted by the people to represent their hopes and aspirations. Every citizen should play their part in the business of Parliament.
The public participation model, as it was adopted by the Joint Rules Committee, is currently being implemented. Personally, I want to see certain aspects of it being changed. I want to see that, and I've discussed it with my colleague, the Honourable Nyambi, that public participation processes must be managed very specifically, because it involves a lot of different participants and actors in Parliament. It involves PCS, it involves ICT, it involves committee staff. All of them are involved in it. So I want stronger coordination so that the roles are very, very clear, and accurate record keeping for public participation must be in place, it must be archived, and once our people have participated, they've made their views known, there must be a feedback mechanism to them.
I can be upfront to indicate that there were some instances in the past where we've been found wanting when it comes to issues of public participation, and that is why we've got what we call an extra judgment. The court were able to remind us, hang on, Parliament. You can't have something assembled by President as an act, yet you have compromised the issue of public participation.
There have been instances in the past where, with certain contentious pieces of legislation, there are certain lobby groups, interest groups, members of civil society, individuals, who will then challenge the public participation processes that Parliament has engaged in. And on a few occasions, the courts did say that the public participation was not sufficient enough or extensive enough. It's one thing to go out and to listen to the public, but it must be a meaningful engagement that takes place. And sometimes people feel it was not meaningful, or that their views were just dismissed. And thus the reason to develop the public participation model, so that it can guide committees across the different spheres of the legislatures to say, this is the model that should be followed. And since that enactment of that specific public participation model, we can see that the public participation is more structured. It also gives an opportunity to us, who are part of the presiding officers, where we see, for instance, like in the Section 25 committee, when they decided, no, we are not going to hear oral submissions, to engage the chairperson and say, let's rather engage. It's important to hear. Even though they've written, open up a space so that people can participate, so that we can, as far as possible, be inclusive. And it doesn't mean that we will agree with everything that has been said, but it's important for those voices to be able to be heard.
Members of Parliament are here to serve you, to be accessible, and to bring your concerns before the respective houses. By encouraging active citizenship and a synergistic relationship between the people and Parliament, South Africa's democracy can thrive. Parliament, following up on the commitments to the people, making your future work better.